You can catch this on a pallet of shrink wrap, and it will pull the knife up and out of your pocket instead of just bending the clip. I mean, I'm sure you can bend it if you really caught it hard on something. And of course, another feature is the hinder Lochbarr Stabilizer, which is more of a, so you can't overspring the Lochbarr. And I wish I still had an XM to show you. I wouldn't really call this a stabilizer, because an actual hinder stabilizer stops this Lochbarr from moving up and down as you grip the knife. Let's see if I can make this make any sense. As you squeeze the knife in hard use, I've never used a knife that hard, but I'm not a firefighter either, like Rick is. So when you squeeze this, this bar moves up and down, and that creates a little bit of wear on this tang. And now, it might last, you know, a couple lifetimes before that would ever be a problem. But that's the whole thing about these kind of knives, is that they're just overbuilt. There's almost no possible way to break them. So it's kind of, this does not stop the Lochbarr from moving up and down this way. It does stop it from being oversprung. Like, you can't push it up and over and bending this Lochbarr up this way, therefore not letting it lock up again. Kind of losing my voice, I'm a little sick. So, anyways, I'll get off of that. It works. It works. It doesn't interfere. It doesn't really add any real weight. I could take it or leave it. I think it looks cool, if that matters at all. Let's talk a little bit about how it fits in the hand. And it looks a little like it's going to be wonky. You know, like it's just going to be a little silly in your hand, but it fits perfect. The SNG is known for its ergonomics. You know, it's got them silly looking looks like it would not. It does. And it's got this big finger choil where you can get up on this blade. Which, some like it, some hate it. Because, think about it, you have virtually this much, well actually about this much blade length, cutting edge, that's wasted. You know, this is a pretty big knife. And to take the cutting edge and reduce it down to what is almost a small Sebenza's cutting edge length. Crap. Let's get it started here on the inches. So we will start at 1. We're going to do overall length. And they're looking at about 8 1/8. A little bit more. Yeah, maybe not. And so it's that long. But you only have a cutting edge of not even 3 inches. 2 7/8. And if I remember right, that is not much different than this, what I have in my pocket. So, you can see, if we start the cutting edge points, cutting edge is near the same, but look how much larger the handle is on the SNG. And that's a big complaint for some people. I like the extra leverage that the longer handle gives, and it's so thin that it carries so well that I don't mind the short cutting edge with the long handle, especially when you're upside down and cutting rope or whatever, because when you pull down, say whatever medium you're cutting is trying to pivot the knife back up, you know, say you're cutting, you know, whatever, it pivots the blade up, and when your palm on the very outside here catches the end of that handle, it really lets you get a lot of leverage on whatever you're cutting, and it's a lot easier. And if you think, I guess the same theory I'm going off of is, if you've ever seen a carving knife, or even like an X-Acto blade. They've got really short blades with a long handle, and that long handle will allow you to get a lot of leverage on that little bit of cutting space. So it's like, I guess if you were to say like pounds force, right, like pressure per square inch of the cutting edge is a lot greater than most with this little tiny cutting edge here and your huge handle. You know, if you had a little handle, you can't put that kind of leverage and force on the cutting edge, which is what this knife is all about, is abuse and tackling big tasks and even non-knife tasks. Prying. You don't see many broken SNGs on the internet, and you don't really hear about them. There is one picture floating around, and I don't know if you've seen it, where a guy supposedly was prying into an ammo can, and his broke. If you see right where this grind comes together, it broke right here, and it broke at this jimping right there. And if you think that is the point of weakness for your prying, but if you did do that and you managed to break it, from what I hear, Strider will take care of you for the cost of shipping, maybe like $15. So not a bad deal, and I think that's kind of half of the appeal of these knives, the Striders, is that warranty. So I can't be all positive, though. One thing I really wish that they could do different and would redesign would be take away this huge sharpening choil here. There's no reason, in my opinion, for it. All it does is take away your cutting edge. I know and I understand why Strider has it, because if you look here, and you can actually look inside, the camera's not going to catch it, but this G10 actually bumps around, and that's the blade stop when it's closed. You can see how the sharpening choil will come up and hit that G10, and that's the blade stop. But if they were to move this screw forward about a ½ inch and extend this G10 and mill it up to here, it would still clear when this closes, and the blade stop would end in this finger choil here. Very much, if you go look at a picture of Rick Hinder's XM18, that's how he handles it. And he has that cutting edge that will come all the way up to the choil here, which is huge. It's a big deal, because when you're cutting with this knife, they already taken away so much of the cutting edge with this choil, finger choil, for control. They don't need to take more up for this sharpening notch. That's just in my opinion, and maybe they know more than me, but I've never heard a good reason to have this. It's just about a ½ inch of your blade edge cutting length taken away. So I just wish they'd move that a little forward so that the blade stop could hit this finger choil. And I hope I made any sense right there. You can see lockup is real positive engagement. And if you look at the Strider website, they say they only have this little point of contact over here. So actually, it's really hard to explain also. The Lochbarr is straight, and I use this Allen key here. The Lochbarr is straight, like this, but the actual blade is ground like this. And they say that this is so that sand and dirt and mud can come out, and only actually the bottom of the Lochbarr hits the blade. And they also say